Alright, now, this video is not going to be like any other video that we do here on Calvin Theory. In this one, we're going to be talking about Bendy and the Ink Machine. Yes, you heard me, folks. The one of the more popular indie horror titles from the years of our lords, the 2010s. Anyway, what we're going to be talking about, though, is who is in whose soul. And if you're telling yourself, what the heck is he talking about? Let me explain. So, in Bendy and the Ink Machine, there's these things called ink monsters, where they're either souls that are inside of them, like workers, or like people who formerly worked at Joey Drew Studios were inside of these monsters, thanks to freaking Joey, or they're just mindless ink monsters. Today we're going to be discussing on which employee is in which. Now, let's get the gigantic elephant out of the room here. Bendy. Now, there's not enough, at least in my research, there's not enough to say that Joey Drew is Bendy. And if you're asking yourself, then who's Boris? It's not Wally Franks. It's not Wally Franks. None of the Borises are actually possessed. I'll explain further. Anyway, let's see. The projectionist monster. Obviously, it's gonna be Norman Polk, the literal projectionist.
Yep.
The only projectionist in that freaking game. Crazy homicidal Alice. I'd have to say Susie Campbell. Let's see, who else? The weird little carnival attraction that you fight in Colossal Wonders, Bertram Piedmont. Now, if you're wondering, well, what proof does he have of this? I actually do have proof. You see, as we see, the ink monsters separate into two categories: ones that are infected with souls, the others aren't. Well, how do you tell which one has the souls? Their bodies don't persist. Let me explain. So, with the regular ink monsters, their bodies go back to the ink. They just disappear and go back to rebirth. But, as you can see with Alice Angel getting freaking stabbed through the chest, yes, her body is still there. It doesn't persist like the rest of them. And if you actually manage to get the Tommy gun whenever you meet the projectionist, you can see that his body is still there too. Same with Bertram Piedmont, who he just hides in trapdoors, but you can see his head still there after you kill him. Now, the reason why I said we couldn't fully tell with Joe is because, well, the Ink Demon's unkillable until Chapter 5. We don't really have enough proof to tell which one he is. So he's going to remain inconclusive. But what about Boris? About my comment when I said that he doesn't have a soul, and he's not Wally Franks, like much of us believed? I was kind of shocked at this too, but at this discovery too, but it makes sense. Because whenever you kill Brute Boris, that heartbreaking fight that you have whenever your old buddy Boris had to suffer Alice Angel's wrath, you see his body disappear into the ink. And if he did have a soul, then why did his body disappear into the ink?
Yep.
So he's not Wally Franks. Well, what about old Good Alice and Mecha Boris? That's gonna remain inconclusive until here's something to chew your Boris bone on. Now, in Chapter 5, you remember that whole big what's the word I'm looking for here? Final boss fight with that demonic Bendy? How Alice and Mecha Boris couldn't cross the river?
Yeah.
Well, remember a comment that she said. She said, if we go out there, well, a drop of water in the ocean's rarely ever seen again. This is kind of hinting to that she can't go across the Ink River, because if she does, well, she'll die and be reborn. Which further leading that she doesn't have a soul. Like, we all thought that Alison Pendle was the good Alice, and we thought that old Thomas Connor was Mechaboris. But no. And if you want more proof, take the end of Chapter 5, for example. If you actually take the time to look around Joey's house, you can see that he sent letters. Letters to Alison Pendle, Thomas Connor, and Wally Franks. Each and every one of those, I told you, didn't have a soul in the Ink Monsters. Because, in each and every one of them, they were off with their families. They were off doing something. They declined Joey's invitation to go back to the studio. But, as I'm sure you can guess, the others that I listed, the ones that were Ink Monsters, did, and suffered the consequences. Old Joey Drew sacrificed them to the ink.
Yep. So, I don't...
Yep. That's about it, yeah.
Nice. Well... Oh, crap. Hold on. Hello? I went to Eternal Lobby and accidentally clicked Enter Sleep Mode. So, yeah, that's it. There will be more than just this one. This is not a spin-off. I'm probably going to change it from being just specific theories to just main chunk of them. So it's easier to make the playlist and all. But, yeah, that's it. Goodbye.